Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Now, last time we had taken on a story mission here, and fortunately, despite taking that story mission on with not a full warband, which, again, if you did not see that, I heavily recommend against doing that, as having less than a full warband is usually a little bit more risky, though possible. We did have our leader go out of combat. However, what did happen is that we got lucky in that he had a full recovery. As far as loot is concerned, we're still a little bit, unfortunately, behind there. Still with our lucky blue handgun early, which helps with this henchman in particular. We've been utilizing that greatly. So, we did not put in our veteran skill, I think, for the sake of keeping things as close to what you might expect in a first playthrough. We're going to avoid those. They are not super critical to have. They are just nice side upgrades. Negotiator's a very good one. If you get that early, if you can get 2 points, I would heavily recommend getting 2 into Negotiator, as the additional 3 days helps a lot in building up a lot of extra word stone. Not necessarily for the sake of making the deadline, but more so that you have a little bit extra that you can turn in for some extra gold. Now, let's take a look at what missions we have here. We have, in fact, 2 brutal missions, which are very scary. We have a scattered start and a warband at the cart. Both are actually the same, and as you can see, one of them is Crush Their Will. We do not want to do that. Now, I would say when you're dealing with missions, I would not take on brutal missions or deadly, especially early on, as in brutal difficulty, they have a 30% increase to their damage and their health, which makes a lot of melee engagements very, very risky. Unless you have a lot of ranged potential, I would not recommend it. So what we will do here is try to send scouts out for 6 gold, not a big deal. And there you have one with 3 strike teams and 1 scattered. That one's a pretty poor start either way, just due to how the AI act. Being the strike team, I would say, is almost likely to be worse in this scenario, as if you're scattered randomly, you're still going to be relatively close to each other. That's not always the case, as I don't often take being scattered. It is a difficult call. What we will do, though, for the sake of tutorial, we are going to take a risky call here, and we're going to go for this brutal mission. Since it is marked for death and both starts are the same, we are going to go for this one. Hopefully we are the one around the cart, but if we're scattered, it's not too detrimental. The big concern will be if we get caught in an ambush. We will see what happens here. Now, I do believe we got leather armor last time, which is very helpful. Which means our leader can stand ahead of them a little bit better.
Your warband and scattered them in the ruins. They soon recover from their fright. But before the warriors can regroup, an enemy warband arrives and deploys near their wagon.
Okay, so we will see what happens here. Now, an interesting thing that you can do, and this is just picked up over time, but when you do a marked for death start, you can often see what you're going to be fighting before you even get into it here, just by looking at the names or the item you pick up from them. So we were scattered. We do not know... Well, actually, they're up here. So if you look at our start here, they're going to spawn here around their cart, which usually populates around here. And you will get used to where these kind of areas are just by playing and looking at the map. Again, I heavily recommend always pressing shift and looking at the overworld every time you start, just to get a good idea of what you really want to do. At least when you are not able to deploy, which gives you that view. First place. So our main goal is to take 2 targets out. And of course, we're fighting the Undead, which is a very, very scary warband to face, especially early on, even more so in brutal difficulty. There is some wordstone behind us. What we can do, and what I recommend with the Undead, is always get them to see you and be very far away from them to force them to charge in without their whole warband, as they will often bring zombies, and zombies do not have great movement. This will give you the chance to really split them up, giving you a lot of safety. So what we can do here is I'm going to look around. Is there anything we can really grab that is secure? One major thing we'll look at is the wordstone here. It is a shard. We also see one of their units. We actually see 3 of them. Their leader and this hero here. We actually see all 3 of their heroes. He is in heavy armor, so he will not be moving very fast. I have yet to see them build a heavy armor unit with the proficiency to move a little bit further. So negate it. He is also in heavy armor, and she is also in armor but with a helmet. What that means is they're going to take a very long time to reach us. With that in mind, and with the fact that we are a lot faster than them, we could try to be a little bit greedy here and grab some wordstone. I'm not going to recommend that in this case because with it being brutal difficulty, we certainly do not want to risk any characters being caught off guard. Now, we did get a good look there. They have 3 zombies and 1 of this unit here. I forget the name of them, but they do not have the movement detriment. So what's going to happen is we're going to pull them back, and even with their heavy armor detriment, they are going to move about the same distance as a zombie. However, the zombies will have a lot less strategy points to get towards us, which means we can utilize that. Now, you'll see they have 5, and 2 of their heroes have 6, so they aren't going to get that much movement, all things considered, but we're going to see what we can do here. We're definitely going to want to get as much damage as possible. With their movement that they're going to have, we can actually be a little bit greedy here. Well, I wouldn't call it greedy, but what we're going to do is set up a sort of ambush against them because they're going to come charging in. And we can definitely stop them. We're going to get those extra ranged hits as soon as possible. So if our other henchman gets there in time, if they are ahead of them, we can make that risk, but I do not believe they will be. And we're only going to do this for 1 attempt, and then we are going to get out of there as soon as possible, as kiting them will be our best bet. I think hiding him back here will be fine. We're really just trying to gauge out how far they can move. And at the same time, with these units, what I'm going to do is look around. If there's any quick loot we can pick up. Unfortunately, it looks like this loot is going to be either 1 floor beneath us, which I don't think will be something we can loot. We have a little bit of a problem here that he is spawned in a pretty poor location that won't let us jump down. Unfortunately, I can't set up the tactic I typically do where I will not... Actually, we can. So what we did was we put our movement speed here, or movement point, and that lets us really get a lot more than usual. So what we can end up doing is jumping down from here. Unfortunate roll, taking 12 damage. However, that could be to our benefit, depending on when they engage us. And we are still taking note of where the wordstone is. So if things go a particular way for us, what we can do is grab that as soon as possible. We are actually going to take this light armor, the helmet, and heavy armor. A greatsword is not a bad choice either, but it is a basic. So we're just going to take the light armor and helmet in this scenario. And get him moving, as we already wasted a movement. Not that this is a huge deal for us. Given that he has a high movement, what we are going to do is put him here to have a sort of ambush set up for us. just in case anyone does manage to make the distance, we can start the fight. Okay, so you'll see here their zombie was actually way up here and in this corner, and we didn't even get to see them. So what that tells us is he did not move this way, but instead up this way, perhaps to go for loot. You can sometimes guess that by looking. Actually, we saw nothing, so there is the possibility that he got stuck, which would not be a negative for us if he did. Okay, our leader has nothing around him to really loot. Now, again, going down the stairs there would take up his movement speed, but what you can do is look for these kind of corners that you can set this up. And as you can see with that snap point, we can make it down the stairs. And because it's centralized, we can make it down 2 stairs. We might not need all this movement, but if you can utilize it, it does help for looking around for any potential future loot. And given we are going to have a little bit more time than I thought, I'm going to try to grab this, which is a fantastic choice as we get a blue weapon and also a blue great axe, and we will be using those as there is the next part of this will be on his next turn. He is going to drop those into the cart, as the AI are hesitant in most scenarios to grab anything out of your cart. I have yet to ever see this occur. He is actually quite far ahead, so we are going to try and go around here. Looks like this would be the best case scenario. Again, utilizing those snap points to try and give us just a little bit of extra movement. He will sadly not be utilized greatly as he is a very weak unit, given that he is still level 0. You do not want to leave him standing in the open. Now we're going to also try to put our henchman here, as he does have this height. What I'm going to do is put him right here. With this much height, that's 2 layers of height. That should be a lot of extra hit chance. I believe you only get the 10% extra no matter the height. As long as you have the height, you get that. 2 floors will not make a difference. It will give you extra range, which can be a detriment in some scenarios. But we're just going to see if we can stop one of them to catch them in a really poor position and then fleeing from them afterwards. There we go with a beautiful start, 40 damage, and we're going to want to utilize as many hits as possible here. So she's going to try to climb. It looks like she succeeded in heavy armor, which is quite impressive. I do not think she should have many more movement points left. No. And that is the detriment of heavy armor, and what we can do then is just kind of run away from her. Our 1 unit here will not be able to reload. I think he casted a beneficial spell for his team. Yes, unfortunately, we're going to have to give up this position because they are all here. If we could get all of the hits necessary, it could be possible to get away from her and get some more damage, but I think our best bet is to try and really split them up here and maybe catch them off guard. I believe their intent will be to climb up on this slope here and try to surround him, which will be his downfall very quickly. One other possibility we have here is that she only has 5 points, and I do not believe, and you can look, usually with their circle of control, if we were to fight her and have 2 units on it, they would have to run around. However, they would definitely be able to reach us. So I think what we're going to do, based on their movement, we're going to take 2 shots here and get her down to about half health. She is dual wielding, which is quite frightening. So we're going to get him to retreat about as far as possible, which is not a ton of distance, but that will do. As we have the benefit of not wearing the heavy armor, we can in fact sit in front of that unit and set an ambush if we so choose. Now, positioning here is very critical as they are going to be approaching, hopefully with only that unit. So you want to play this in a particular way. With this unit, there's not much we can do. We're just going to put him right here. And this unit will probably do the same, because what I'm going to do is put him in this awkward angle here. And what's really happening is his zone of control will kind of leak out a little bit here to protect him, because a charge onto this unit would actually be detrimental. Actually, let's skip that for this one. This will be a tactic for another time. What we're going to do instead is we're going to put our leader in the way and set up an ambush. So what we're going to do is there's a high chance they're going to focus on either one of our injured henchmen, or they're going to go for that archer, which is a good call. Now, they could still go for our henchman, the rifle, but we're going to try to get him to flee from here, and he should be fine. Now, we have a lot of movement here, so I'm going to do a perception check, see if we pass it. Unfortunately not. What we're going to do is put him directly in front of him and put up a parry stance here. There's a chance he will be charged, but he is our best chance to get that parry. And he is likely to be ignored, as he is a very durable unit. Now, another thing we're going to do is try to cast a spell as far as we can reach it, which should hit her. Unfortunately, it's only going to be her, but she is the main target of this next fight. So we're going to take a risky move here and cast the spell. Hopefully there's no punishment, and there is not. So he is going to fall back here. We are going to actually make him fall back into this corner here. And the reason for that is that if we have too many over there, that small hallway there could become actually a block for our own units. You can see that the zombies are struggling to get there. They're also going to have a little bit of trouble here because that zombie is in the way of the bridge. So if any other unit tries to get there, they will be unable to pass him until he moves. We're just going to move him here. I do not believe she can get up here. Actually, she may yet be able to, just based on that movement. We are going to utilize again the extra movement just to get a little bit further down the road here. So I am a little bit worried that she can make that distance. So we will see what she chooses here. Do not believe she can make that distance, but it is possible. But if she does, he should be able to disengage if he survives the attack. With us still being a lot of basic quality weapons, even on brutal difficulty, she shouldn't be able to take him out too quickly. At least not in one turn. Perfect. She got hit by a trap. Slow her down. She's actually going to make it not quite into the ambush. So what we're going to hope to do here is get some extra shots next turn and hopefully be able to take her down. Depending on what they have to do.
Has started.
As you can see, he couldn't make the climb and skipped his turn, which means she is very much by herself. We are going to go for 3 shots here. 13 damage. And you will see with this extra bonus to health that she has, and you can see that on the bottom right of the screen, 30% wounds, which is the health, and 30% of all damage types. Another nice benefit of Brutal, though, that is not a detriment, is if you do win the round, every single unit of your warband will get 2 extra XP. Which is very, very helpful. So we're just going to continue with our 3 hits here. If all 3 connect, we will be very good on our standing here. I realize now that he only has 5 points, which was a slight mistake. Now, another move I'm going to do, if I do it correctly, I'm getting pulled down the stairs. Be careful of this. It is a bug. As you can see, some sets of stairs will pull you away if you push into the wall. I'm not sure what causes it, but do keep that in mind. And what we're going to do is just kind of put him here, and we're going to delay our turn, which will do what we discussed already, is put a sort of wall in the way. Now, he can't make the distance, but our other henchmen will be able to. And what this will do is allow him to, hopefully, actually, he will not be able to. So we're going to have to do this a little differently. We're going to have to go for the charge, which we can do. Very careful. I'm surprised he hasn't seen her yet. There we are. An 82% chance. We're going to do this, and she will get to swing back. But we will just make him kind of our target for the AI as far as future fights. So we're just going to charge in. She can do about the same damage as him, surprisingly, so she's not too deadly, even with the brutal difficulty. But I think the stat sheet does not show the 30% until after she's taken the swing. We're going to charge in. He has actually passed the fear test and gotten a beautiful hit. Now she is going to swing back, and 46 damage. Very painful. However, now she has no way to effectively defend herself. But you'll notice the fear check there was not a high value for us. Now he's going to try to get up there to climb. You can see just how low their movement is as a zombie. Okay, so we need as many units as possible to attack her to hopefully get this kill. I do not believe he is a good target for it, so what we're going to do is just kind of set up an ambush that he was doing before, kind of catch anyone who makes the distance here, and then we will have both henchmen in the way. I think our best bet will be the leader to charge in. This unit could make the distance at a 78. The problem is if he fails the fear test, it will only be a 48, which is not a high amount, but we are going to take the risk here, as getting a hero down without taking too much damage is very, very useful. As you can see, he got scared, but we will see. And he actually got the hit. Unfortunately, he rolled very, very low. We are going to delay his turn and see if we can get the leader to take his turn. Unfortunately, he's going to have to delay again. And then hopefully our leader goes. Fantastic. So our leader has all of those points. At her health value, there's no point to charge here, as she will die in a single hit of 3 health. We're just going to walk up. We failed the fear test, but that's okay. We have 2 swings on 62, and we'll see what happens. We miss, unfortunately, on the first swing. We will try a second swing, and we succeeded. So we will check what loot she has, as we have the time for it, and the movement. Nothing good, unfortunately. So what we're going to want to do with him now, as he has still a ton of movement, we are actually going to drop off our spear and great axe. Just so, if they want to take it, well, they have to make some awkward movements. Those 2 are actually going to be able to fall back again, so we can set up a similar trap that we had before. And I'm going to put a parry right here in front of them. And our only injured unit is that henchman, and we can definitely utilize this fact. Concentration is not necessary. Not a bad one, I guess, if you're only going to cast 1 spell, but we will not be doing that here. I think what we're going to do is use him for the charge, because he can swing twice. Okay. Now, he is injured as well, but he will not be the main target if it ever comes to that. We'll put him right here, as they can only climb up right there. They will have to climb up in front of this unit, which is probably not what they're looking for. We can put him around this corner, which basically means he's close enough that they may choose to attack him if they have the movement. If they do not, they charge the closest, but it's a high chance they will see him. If he is close enough and they still don't have the movement, they may still make strange plays that they will just walk around your units, or attempt to anyway, and will just end their turn without doing anything. Just something to keep an eye on. Now, I do not believe the AI are going to favor this unit anymore, just due to the fact he is at full health and very far out of the way. The chance is still there, so it may be better yet to not leave him up here. But two of our targets are here, so we have to kind of wait for them. I believe he is stuck. If I had to guess, skipped a turn and does not know how to climb, but we will take those advantages, and you always should if they do make that mistake, as on brutal difficulty, any advantage is a good idea. Now, the zombies are going to be the next thing we're most likely going to be engaging with, and those are unfortunate depending on how you see the mission, as zombies have 0 morale reduction for the enemy team when they go out of combat, which means you cannot take out a zombie to force a warband to rout. Even if their morale is beneath the level,
a new round.
if the zombie goes out of combat, and they're beneath it, it still doesn't check, as nice as that would be. So what we learned here is another zombie blocked this bridge here, and he must have a chance to climb that is low enough that the AI is choosing not to, yet still standing in the way of other potential climbing. But the bridge is also blocked, causing them to really slow down, which is fantastic for us, as we are going to take full advantage of that and get some damage here. As zombies cannot wear heavy armor, they are very, very nice targets for any of your damage, if there is free damage available. And we will end our turn here, as I believe a second zombie will be showing up there. And here is another important fact, and this is why fear and terror are both very, very scary debuffs to take, is that as soon as you fail the debuff, you will continue to roll every turn until you pass it. And early on, with a 30% chance, you can see that that is very, very low. The chances of getting out of that is often unlikely, given that most fights end in just a couple turns. However, this one may take a few extra turns, as we are on brutal difficulty and we are choosing to kite the enemy quite a bit. As you can see, a zombie with 63% chance still failed it. Now he will try. I am not quite sure what to say about that movement for the AI. However, he gave us a free 51 damage, which we will take. Our leader at a 53 also failed. However, that is fine. He is just there to block the road. I believe the AI can see that he failed it. They often know all the stats and will weight those before they engage. Okay, given that we just saw him go that way, means he is trying to get around to reach our ranged unit. So we are going to want to get him out of there as soon as possible, which it is his turn, so we are going to utilize that fact right away. Okay. That does mean that he can't do much this turn. However, I would rather have him be secure and safe here rather than getting ambushed and pretty much being doomed, as him being caught on his own would be surely a death sentence. Now, their hero should be able to start making progress towards us now. If that doesn't happen, That is okay, as I believe we should be able to take out
new
both
round
zombies
has
and that
started.
henchman without them being... Excuse me, all 3 zombies and the other henchman, and they will still have the morale we need, that we could theoretically take out both of them. However, if they're the only 2 left, and we take out both of them, if they have no warband, there is not a moment to loot the body. You will leave immediately. Okay, so you can see we have this advantage here. Given that the chance is 88, actually, we have enough extra points, so we're going to take the aim here just to get the extra little bit of hit chance, just to play it safe. Putting him dangerously low on health, which is fantastic. And we can still reload him to be prepared for next turn. Okay, I will not change my plans, as the way we have this set up is fine. What we are actually going to do, though, is we're going to move him a little bit back here, and the reason for that is the zombie may choose to come up here and then jump off that ledge to reach him. So what we want to do is give him no chance to get a free ambush. Because jumping off a ledge into an ambush range will not trigger the ambush. So you can utilize that in some scenarios. It is rare, but it is something that can happen where you will jump down into the range of your charge and at their ambush. However, an ambush can't trigger from that, so you get the charge. Okay, so we have 1 zombie that will be going down next turn, and 1 zombie that is coming in from behind here. This may have been a poor decision to leave him there. Actually, that is fine. What the zombie ended up doing, and I would have to check his health. He did not make the climb, so he chose to come back. This will be an excellent shot on a 91 because of aim. We're going to go for that, as it could remove almost a third of their health. Fantastic. Now, you'll see with that hit, he now has about the same health. Well, actually, his health is not too amazing. He must have low toughness. He actually has a 7, which is quite impressive. But that puts him beneath some of our units. Now, he does still have the 30% more damage, and do keep that in mind. Even if they are at a measly 10 health on deadly and brutal difficulties, there is still a chance that they will rip through your health a lot more quickly than you would think.
A new round has started.
Okay, so what we want to do first is definitely remove this zombie down here, as we do not want to give him any chance to effectively get a single use of his offensive points. Even if it's only 1 swing, that is still 25 to 37 damage, which is quite a bit of damage, to be honest with you. Never mind. That's about within range of a 30% increase, so let's see if we can take him out. We are fortunate with that hit, and what we're going to follow up with here is we're going to put damage over here. Unfortunately, the box is in the way, but we no longer need it, so we're going to try again here with an aim to put us at a guaranteed hit, or as close as you can be in Mordheim. Fantastic hit, and he is now under 100 health, which puts us at a very good spot considering he is also in light armor. Fantastic, and he also passed his fear test, so we no longer have to deal with that. Now, that is also only fear we no longer have to deal with. And what I'm going to do here, and this will work, is he has a very poor ambush range, as he is a zombie with movement that affects how far you can ambush and charge. We're going to put him here, seemingly in the open. But what will happen is they're going to see him very much in the open, And that is an easy target to choose, as his health is also very low. However, what will happen is they're going to walk into both layers of this ambush. We could attempt a charge here, which is a potential idea. But what we're going to do is, I think, delay our turn here. Because I do not believe that they will attack him. They will leave him here all by himself. And what that'll mean is these two zombies will take their turn, run past him, into an ambush. Fantastic. Now, he will get to swing and will most likely hit, which may put him low enough that the other zombie will favor to attack him. He actually stayed up, which is beneficial for us, I believe. See what this other zombie does. No matter which target he goes for, he may charge our leader, which is unfortunate because his movement wasn't quite far enough, but that is okay. Because what will happen now is our leader will get to finish out his turn and then also get another turn before that zombie. Meaning we effectively got to utilize all of our offensive points on him during his turn and then still get another set of 4 offensive points against him. And we did take a pretty sizable chunk of damage there from that charge, but it was worth it because it landed on our leader, who is currently in light armor that is of blue quality, and that is very useful. Now, you'll see our shot was very fortunate, and we got a crit, which means they are definitely in some trouble. Okay, so now that we've gotten our crit, and what you can see with that crit here, and I think this is an important time to point this out, you'll see we did some extra damage, actually quite a substantial amount of damage. Not much more than a normal hit, however. Crits do not do anything absurd that you might expect out of any typical RPGs with these kind of, damage and health and percent hit elements. However, the main benefit cannot be understated here. He is now stunned, which is a chance. You can see that he failed the roll. He had a very, very low stun resist. But if we take a look at his debuffs, actually, that is interesting. So this is something I did not know. However, zombies cannot get the other debuff that makes criticals so deadly, which is open wounds. Open wounds are very, very powerful debuffs that reduce your chance to hit by 10%. But he does not have to deal with it. Now, the main scary part for that poor zombie is that now any melee strikes launched against him, as long as he is still stunned, will be a guaranteed hit, which is probably one of the worst situations you can find yourself in. Now, if you look at our archer here, he gets an extra 20% hit, which means archers getting a crit is not quite as deadly as a melee. Though an archer can get the crits to set up the stun for your team. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to do a double aim, which will leave him unreloaded, but this is a good turn for it, because if we can get the hit here, this zombie will be removed immediately, reducing their effective offensive points. A fantastic hit. He is removed, and what we're going to do is reload. And I believe we can get a better chance to hit from here. At a 90, we will take this extra damage. Fantastic. Now, here is an interesting concept that you can use as you get a little bit more used to it, going forward. This zombie, we can see he is going to take a turn well after everyone else on our warband. And taking down a unit, whoever takes the final hit or makes the final attack, gets the experience point for doing so. In these scenarios, you will often want to look at which warband member you would like to have that extra experience point. Say a hero that had just been recruited no more than a mission ago. He could use it a little bit better to catch him up with your warband to make him less of a liability on the field with his lower health. So what we're going to actually do is set up with the idea that he is going to get the finishing blow here, as he is pretty much guaranteed to do so. So we are going to set his henchman here with an ambush to set up the next attack. He is still injured and can still set up the potential here, so he's just going to put a dodge stance. And then he is also not going to be our target for this, so he is going to be just kind of a secondary ambush as needed. Now, you will see the ambush says it can go through the zone of control. It actually cannot. That is something to keep in mind. It is blocked by your ally's zone of control. So, let's take a look at his health. He is at 48 health, and he can do 38 to 41 on a guarantee. So, if we charge, his turn is over, but it'll be a guaranteed takedown, which is fine. Actually, in this case, only because he is a caster, we are going to utilize this, if we can see any units. So, sometimes it's better just to look around. Be careful, because if he does get charged, you're going to have a very awkward situation when you should have had a unit taken out. It seems unlikely we're going to get that takedown here, so what we're going to do is walk in and take a swing. See what happens. Maybe we'll hit high, maybe we won't. We actually crit. Unfortunately, no takedown, but we're still going to get the XP out of it and take another swing. Okay, so that unit is now removed, and he got the experience point. We'll check his equipment. Nothing too great. Now, this is the situation I was talking about earlier, where we have a little bit of room here. And what I mean by that is the enemy are kind of stuck. They aren't making their movements as necessary. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take this unit, as he is a little bit fragile. In fact, it may be a little bit better if we don't take him there. Actually, no, this will be fine, because you can see there's some loot there, and there's wordstone to be had. Now, for this unit, he is too valuable in the front line, so what we're going to do is leave him here. Same plan as always, with the parry stance. If they happen to get through, we should be able to punish him. We're attempting to approach and hit with a charge. So we're going to set him here with an Overwatch, just so there's no chance of the enemy kind of using corners to their advantage. It is a difficult thing to use with Overwatches, that you will want them to be hiding behind a corner as sort of an ambush, which does make sense. However, the problem with Overwatch is it automatically initiates the second there is a shot available, which means if they came from behind a corner, they saw them while they're still covered by said corner. Which means they will take a slight detriment to their hit chance, and that is often not what you want to have happening. Now, what we're going to do is, again, we're kind of just going to try and grab some loot here. We're going to set up this archer, as there's no loot here. There is some back here. We're going to try to grab as much wordstone as possible for the sake of building up our stockpile, as it were. This unit is very injured, and what we're going to do with him is have him go and do that. Even if he takes the damage, that is okay. He is going to grab this fragment and shard. And he does have 2 more spots. I would dare to go up and grab the other shard. However, I would not recommend it, as you never know when the AI is going to figure out how to approach again. Those are unfortunate rolls to take an extra 20 damage off of the turn. However, that will be fine as he was not my main fighter anymore. Anyway. Now, we could try to climb with him. Let's see what his odds are. He's at a 70%, which is okay. We will try. And we've gotten lucky here, which means we can run in, hopefully find a wordstone or two before the AI figure out how to reach us. Now that is another fragment, which is not all that useful. I would even say to not pick it up until you've grabbed other wordstone. It does appear that the wordstone would be in this area on the second floor. What we're going to do is actually park him right here. Again, utilizing the extra movement. This should be able to get us the wordstone on one move. Okay. This henchman is still being utilized as an ambush. We do not want to completely spread out as we are trying to play this safe. Okay, so we're going to move him up. There is some loot here. And this should be a wordstone. It is sadly only a fragment. That is okay. We will grab it anyway. Now there is other loot available in here, so we're going to give it a look. This looks like it'll be the other wordstone that we were trying to grab with this unit, which saves us the time. We will have him grab whatever this wordstone is and this. Do not see the other loot, which makes me believe that it is going to be on the top floor. Typically in those scenarios, it can be unfortunate to have to climb the whole way up to grab that loot. I do not believe his agility is quite high enough to utilize climbing. You could give it a try, perhaps. Though, in this scenario, I'm going to say it is not worth it, as we're here to grab quick items to get back to the cart as soon as possible. Okay, we're going to see if we can get down the stairs without using our movement, and we can, which will allow us to get the third wordstone. These are only fragments, which is not very helpful, though early on, as we said, any wordstone is worth the pickup when you are just trying to make sure you make the deadline. Okay, so I'm going to put this unit here to also guard this alley because we have a henchman stuck in here. If they manage to show up at this moment, we would want to give the best chance for him to actually escape back. Actually, a wordstone right in that window, which we will try to grab on that henchman's next turn. I do believe the AI are very stuck. And there you are. This is exactly what I was warning about. As you can see, he definitely attempted to make the charge, and he picked up that wordstone, which will be very helpful for us. Not sure what his debuff was, but hopefully what we can do is remove all of his movement before he can make the approach. And we did. So next turn, we're going to have to take care of this leader as soon as possible. He has a lot of health, and he has a lot of potential damage. Also followed up by the fact that he comes with a debuff that is terror when you approach him, and you have to pass that. Okay, so we are not going to want to attack him too directly here. This unit would not be a bad call. However, what we're going to want to do here is just kind of set up a sort of protection in case the other unit does show up here. He's going to protect our archers so they can continue to do what they need to. going to grab this fragment here, as there's no reason not to. He would probably not be utilized in the fight. And we get a benefit. It is always a good idea to check those benefits, as you can get things like this, which is +3. Be helpful. Not this turn, but next turn. And you can see that his ambush range is very, very far. Okay. Well, he cannot come out from that corner, as he will very much be ambushed for the attempt. What we are going to do here is just have him go up here and get a Wordstone Shard for us. And hopefully the debuff is not too detrimental. Prevents weapon switch, which is not a concern for us. Given what he has currently, what we are going to do is set him up right here to kind of catch any attempts to come up the stairs, which should not be an issue, but may become so depending. What we're going to want to do here is with this unit, if there's any chance he can make the distance to blind their hero, we are going to want to do that. I do not believe he can make the distance. Oh, he actually can. Now, this is a little risky because we are next to our units. So if a debuff goes off now, it could be an AoE, cause a lot of chaos. However, we are fortunate that it did not. So he is now blinded, which is not a huge effect for us, but we're going to see what we can do here. So we're going to go for a shot on him. 47 damage is a good amount of damage, so he is definitely a scary unit to fight. However, when fighting the undead, your most likely target to have a blue weapon is their leader. So if we can take him on, that would be our best bet. If we look at our henchman, he is at 87 health, which puts him way more likely to be attacked by that unit. At 49 health, and him doing 59 to 65 damage, we can reduce that by 20%. Actually, 25%, meaning we're going to reduce it by around 12 to 15 damage. That doesn't make things too scary. However, it is 50 damage, and he does have 9 crit. If we look at our toughness on this unit, using the Alt key, we have 9 toughness, which means our chance to be crit should be actually 0. Now, he may choose, and this is what we hope, is that what he will do is actually use a charge on our leader here. Now, this could be another gamble. I do not know the numbers perfectly versus this unit, but I believe that he is going to... Actually, if we are in the way here, charging him and getting 2 hits at a 25% reduction is unlikely to kill him. So we're going to have to take the damage either way. I think one possibility here, and what we may try to utilize, is I'm going to loot this. We do not want the item that's coming from it. What we're going to do is just put him here in the way with a parry stance, because that basically means he shouldn't be able to traverse this alleyway without going through him. And he may do that yet, but I have a belief here that our leader can actually get the parry here. He unfortunately did not. However, it was only 58 damage with a charge, and we get to swing back. Now, he cannot swing a second time as he decided to charge. It is exactly why we did
A new
that.
round has started.
Unfortunately, the AI will always value a charge, even if it isn't a great idea. Perhaps unfortunate is not the word. So what we're going to do is just try to get any damage we can here, as that'll put him right where we need to. Now, you also probably saw there was a terror check in that engagement that we passed. What terror does is it reduces your offensive and strategic points by, I believe it is 2, maybe 3. However, what that really means is early on is if they get a failed check, henchmen can actually not act for the turn. Which is very detrimental. Okay, so we've turned in our loot here. There is the chance that he could swing around and help this fight. However, we do not know where their leader is. We do see the henchman is standing up here. So we're not going to want to take that damage for free. What I think we'll do is just set up an ambush a little bit further back. Because we want him to get closer so our archers can do their job before we start fighting for no reason. Now, this henchman is completely fine, and we do not see where they took their other unit, so I don't believe he will be showing up for this fight. And unfortunately as well, you're not going to be able to help our leader with his fight, so hopefully he should be able to take down their leader. And he does. Fantastic. Now, we check his loot. If you ever take down the leader, or really any of the heroes, with the undead, always check their hero and leader. More so the leader. The reason for that is oftentimes they will have something more than a basic item.
Objective completed. Objectives updated.
Okay. So we actually got a beneficial buff there. They are actually still in this fight, which means we can still theoretically get our secondary objective here, which is taking out their other hero. Our leader is also very, very fragile at this moment because we did kind of put his life on the line as a resource. Do not be afraid to do that, especially on these singular missions. Maybe not so much on story missions. However, especially with Brutal, sometimes you just have to accept that that damage is going to happen. And sacrifice one unit's ability to stand in the front lines for the sake of getting a potential deadly unit off of the field. Now, I almost ran this unit to go get more wordstone without emptying his pack. If you use the cart, do keep that in mind. It looks like we only have 2 spots available for future items. So that is another potential issue that can happen. As you level up, you will find that it gets to an amount that you often will never fill up the cart. I believe our chances of finding that hero that we're looking for is quickly closing in to, I would say, impossible, as that henchman now sees us and we see him. He is going to charge directly towards us. And now he's standing in the open, giving us free range to take extra damage.
A new round has
Typically,
started.
in these situations, I would say you could put someone ahead of this unit and decide to kind of take the damage. And I consider this technique playing with your food, as you're allowing them to get more swings that they might not otherwise get for the sake of secondary objectives. But in this case, I'm going to say do not do this, as it is first brutal, and secondly, there's a high chance they will absolutely destroy the unit you've put ahead of them. Okay, so we're just going to set an ambush here. We do not want to walk in and take free hits. That would not be the greatest thing in the world, so we're Just going to set him right here. That will make him an easy target for that unit, so he will run into the ambush. I could try to climb up here. However, I do not know if this is a good call, as dropping off the supplies, though nice, it's not very safe. We're just going to put him here. Okay, so our leader's right here. We will put him with a parry stance. Thankfully, that henchman will never make the distance. And what we're really going to want to do is check back here. Unfortunately, we cannot reach the loot we want, which is a cluster. And if you ever see clusters, especially early on, like this campaign is, I would put all of your potential into getting said cluster. We are going to do the thing I said not to do, which is play with your food. But I believe we can utilize this here. Okay, so they're going to get a turn, and we will see if their leader shows up. Well, their hero, rather. An unfortunate miss, but that is okay. As you can see, he did 60 damage, which is substantial. Early on, your numbers are low enough that it's never safe. So
A new round has started.
what we will do is see what damage we can get here. 62% is about the best we can get. So we're going to take one shot on the 62%. And we got a hit. Fantastic. We will reload and aim, putting him, hopefully, right next to 0 health. Unfortunately, we missed. That is okay. If we take a look at his health, he has 46. So we're going to move this unit up. We're going to take a swing here. That was his dodge. So that is good to get that out of the way. It was actually quite a high chance to dodge. We are not trying to take this unit out at the exact moment. We will put another unit in the way. We will take another swing on 91, putting him right next to his demise and putting up a dodge stance here. Now, he will delay his turn. And we will walk the leader up here. Actually, this was all not necessary, as everyone is going for their other unit. So what we will do is actually take him out of combat here. And check his loot. Nothing too substantial here. So what we are going to want to do, and this could be risky, as what is left for them is in fact a hero. So there is that small chance that they will stay after we let him take his turn. And we will see what that becomes. Okay, so first order of business is obviously grabbing this cluster. That is a huge boon for us, as that is 15 workstone weight. And we got a heal, which is nice, though hopefully will not need to be utilized. And 40 gold should pay for most of the mission. Okay, so at this point, I believe that the AI are unlikely to make any attacks against us, so we're going to just take a look here, see if there's any wordstone we can pick up. That is a fragment. That is likely going to be the end of this mission, and we will end with an overwatch in an unlikely place, and our turn. Yes, I don't believe we will be able to get him to reach there to look at what's possible. We'll just set an ambush, and hopefully here this is the end of the mission. And it is. Okay, so we did not get the secondary objective, so we're going to get a little bit less XP, which is unfortunate. However, that is fine. as all you get is some extra rewards down at the bottom left. You do not pick up any more loot. It is just extra XP and 3 pieces of loot, and some warband experience. That you should never overextend yourself in a very unsafe way to pass those effectively. As having a unit go out of combat to make a secondary objective happen is never worth the trade. Now, we can see at the end of the mission, as well, as it is brutal difficulty, we are allowed to pick up more loot at the end, which means we got 3 extra pieces of loot, 3 extra wordstone shards, and 2 fragments. Now, these are always pieces of loot that are untouched by the end of the mission. So if you manage to pick up every single piece of loot on the battlefield and then win with all of your warband, you will see that you get no extra loot. So do keep that in mind. If you ever see that number particularly low, that is what happens.
Vanquishing the foe upon the field of battle is a great feeling.
Task
It is even better when you get it.
completed.
And as you heard, we got 2 tasks completed. I do not know which those are. However, we will see. Unfortunately, we will not be getting level 3 due to this. But you can see we got 2 extra XP for taking on a difficulty. Even with that extra XP, I would not recommend this normally, as the jump in damage and health often leads to the AI getting units injured, knocking them out of combat, and it is a gamble. Now, this time we did get through it successfully. No one went out of combat. We never got crit either, which is very, very useful. But you must keep that in mind as far as future missions go. You can see the experience coming through here. Nothing
The gods are with
too
you.
substantial. However, you'll notice we did get that one enemy removed with this unit here. Now, it did not affect him reaching the level, but that extra 1 XP does matter over the course of missions if you can make that happen. Again, it is helpful if it presents itself, but don't try to go too far out of your way to set this up, as he will get leveled eventually anyway. Okay, so another big thing to note is we did get a blue spear and a blue great axe, which I recommend giving these 2-handers to henchmen, because they will be able to utilize charge bonus of it. You could give it to heroes as well. It's always on the break points. As far as dual wielding and 2-handers go, at 5 offensive points, it is worth it. At 3 offensive points, it is also worth it. And following from there, as far as heroes are concerned, a 2-hander is never worth it again until you are at max offensive point, which allows you to walk up and get 3 swings a turn. However, on henchmen, when they are just starting out with 3 offensive points, it is very worth it. And then also when they get their final offensive point, it is also worth it, depending if they are a damage source or if they are more defensive. And with a shield, obviously you can't wear a 2-hander. And we are only paying 28 gold, which means that 39 gold we got paid for the whole mission, and we got to pocket some extra. So let's put our points in here. More leadership. As you can see, our one task was actually getting more victories, which is nice. Throw our points in here quickly. He is ranged, so ballistic skill until maxed is always the most recommended. Now, I always go alertness with my ranged, because the faster they move, the sooner they can get into position. By faster, I mean their initiative, which means earlier in the turn. They don't technically move faster. Now, with this unit here, we are going to be putting them in heavy armor down the line when we get them and they are trained. So we are going to continue with toughness and strength. Now, an interesting thing to note as well is that when they have a lot of toughness and strength, even if they're not in heavy armor, they still can take a lot more damage than you would think, which makes them very, very useful. Even if they aren't the most armored, they can take hits for your team, and then you just back them off for later. Okay, plan stays the same with him. This is a ranged unit, and you can see that this unit would never be good melee, as he has a 7 maximum in weapon skill, that is too low to ever be useful, especially in the late game. Early game, it can be disregarded as you're not hitting maximum, but in that scenario, it's just not worth it. Okay, and he's going to get some weapon skill. Now, with him, he is a caster. We will be teaching him some spells, and we will be giving him a staff. Now, for him, he is actually going to get his weapon skill max very early. And what we're going to do is unusual for most, but for him, I am not going to go for accuracy, but instead fill the rest out into ballistic skill, because usually with casters, as they have to use a staff to cast their spells to reduce the chance to be punished for casting spells, it's often worth it to keep them as a melee focus, but also to have them with range, just in case they're staying back, as I often don't put the casters into melee range. Now, if he had a higher weapon skill, it would be more likely, but we'll just do a split. Him utilizing weapon skill first in this scenario. Now, again, if we look at the spells that we were planning to get, Blinding Light, Max is just spell points. Another one, Fireball is an interesting spell. Lightning Strike once 12. So if we utilize Lightning Strike, which I think we will be for the sake of showing off magic for this tutorial playthrough, we're going to want as high of intelligence as we can get. Okay, everyone's gotten their points. Now we can take a look at the shop. And the main important thing is, after you've bought everything, do keep in mind of how many days it'll be until there is a restock. It's very important to keep on top of that. It's not super important. They will tell you when the shop's restocked, but I usually like to keep an eye on it and get it as soon as possible to hopefully build up the team. Now, going forward, he has a 10 in weapon skill, so what we are going to do is give him the spear. As he is built around parrying, I do not want to give up the shield. A basic shield is quite low in terms of benefits, but it is still worth it to wear, especially with the spear, because the spear cannot be dual wielded. You may only have a shield with the spear. Now, the next thing we're going to do is these two units here are very likely to hit level 3 very, very soon. So with this unit here being very low level and unlikely to hit it soon, we are going to give him a Great Axe. We could give it to him, and that could be useful. However, what I want to do with him is actually give him 2 maces for more hit chance, because he can swing twice. We're going to want him to do that with maces to get the hits. With the axe, what we can do with him is effectively commit it all into a charge, and if he hits or doesn't, that is fine. Okay, and that should be it. We will go to the next day, and you can see nothing new has been stated here. There is a sort of cooldown element to the story missions on how quickly they give you those story missions. And this is something too. We got some extra loot here. Light armor that we can give out, some clothes, which is actually not helpful as every unit you hire comes with it. But we got 5 healing potions, which are okay. I typically save these until the final 2 story missions. You can use these if you want. I usually just save them for final missions. And 50 gold, which is not much, but it is something. And the way story missions work is there's usually a cooldown period in between when they give them to you. However, if your warband grows quickly past what the rating is for that story mission, you will find that it'll give you those story missions a lot quicker. I do not know what the number is that forces the mission earlier, but it is something to keep in mind if it does go that way. For most beginning warbands, when you're starting at rank 0, that's nothing to worry about. But that is it. We did a brutal mission today and showed you that really staying back is a very good strategy there. If you have ranged options, you'll want to utilize that to really soften up your targets long before they reach you, and this also served as a way to fight the undead. Do suffer from not a lot of ranged options, at least their henchmen cannot be ranged, so again, the strategy still works with their zombies and lack of range. it is worth it to kind of pull them in and let the zombies lag behind. We did get fortunate that they got stuck, but that is something that you'll see a lot with the AI, and you should utilize it, especially on those difficulties. But that is going to be it for the video today, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one.